G'day everyone, Master Rabbit here from CapsuleComputers.com. Today we have Michael Adams here with us at the Armageddon Expo convention. And Michael here has got a... Is it a book, Michael?
It is a big book.
It's a big book and it's called...
Big book about bad movies.
What's it called?
It's called Showgirls, Teen Wolves and Astro Zombies, my year-long quest to find and watch the worst movie ever made. It's a tongue twister.
Worst movie
ever made.
All right, so give us a rundown. What did you do initially? What was the, what made you want to do this? Waste a year of your life, if you want to call it. Yeah, it has to be some
more than a year.
Okay, well, what made you want to do this?
I watched a very bad film. I used to work for Empire magazine, the movie magazine.
Oh, yeah.
In my duties there as reviews editor, I watched a film called Material Girls, which stars Hilary and Haley Duff as little pop moppets. At the time, it was ranked the worst movie ever made by users of IMDb.
Oh, yes.
And as bad as it was, I thought, hey, there's got to be a worse film out there than this, and that idea kind of just took hold. I was supposed to be finishing off a sci-fi screenplay that I'd written, but I couldn't shake this idea. So as the new year was coming up, I thought, okay, I'll try and find the worst film ever made, worst movie ever made. So I went onto the IMDb's bottom 100, started buying up those movies, and I contacted aficionados like Joe Dante and John Landis, Eli Roth, Edgar Wright, cats like that. Got them to nominate the worst film they'd ever seen. Went through the classics like Plan 9 from Outer Space and Reefer Madness, all those sort of cult films that had been celebrated in books like the Golden Turkey Awards in the 80s.
And Rotten Tomato too?
Rotten Tomatoes, I looked through their list as well of the worst films that they'd ranked, although they've only been around for 5 years, so it was sort of a more limited selection.
Yeah, they're not that old,
Yeah, I started just accumulating all the films. I bought them all, which was extremely foolish. On Amazon or eBay, including shipping costs to Australia, sent me back a small fortune.
Wow. Just like, I'll break in and ask a question. How much did it cost you?
I was too frightened to add it up, but I think it clocked in at around about 10 grand.
Wow!
So I've got a big old collection of crappy movies. Films that people would pay not to say I was paying good money to see. And this is when the Australian dollar, of course, was like 60 cents. So double pain.
Wow.
And, the incredible frustration was I'd shell out to get some crappy movie, get it shipped to Australia, and then find 2 weeks later that someone had posted it in its entirety to YouTube.
Oh, no!
Anyway.
Fair enough.
And then I put them all into categories. And then assigned each of those categories a number. And then I would draw a number out of a bad movie bingo. So I never knew what film was going to come up next or what selection. So I'd go from John Travolta's films to Madonna's films to bad robot movies to bad gorilla films to bad Australian films and onwards and onwards. So the idea was to watch at least one bad movie every day for the whole year. And I ended up doing that and went about 40 over. So I ended up being about 404 movies.
So you went 404 movies in 1 year?
1 year, bad movies.
Right.
That was while I was also working for Empire. So I was seeing normal movies as well. And I was also working for the movie show on SBS. So I was watching, I think I ended up clocking around about 800 movies that year.
800 movies? Wow.
Some good and a lot really bad.
Right. So when you did watch the movies, you actually, what did you do? You just took notes on what each movie was like and then you gave it a ranking, or what did you do? Did you have to write a review on each one, or what did you do?
I did write extensive notes. I ended up with like 500,000 words of notes.
500,000?
I ranked them on, out of 10 or out of 20 on things like acting, theme, script, cinematography, production values, themes, ambitions, general enjoyment value.
Right.
And then I'd come up with a number out of 100.
Right.
So, early on I came up with one film that was 12 out of 100, and I thought that's probably as low as it would go.
Wow.
And for a long time it was.
Wow.
But then towards the end of the year I found a bunch of movies that went below that. And I ended up with 2 films that ended up being 4 out of 100, which I guess if you rate it in stars is 1/5 of 1 star out of 5.
1/5 of a star?
1/5 out of 1 star out of 5.
Wow. But is that, is that was it because you were getting really angry at the end and frustrated that you said, nah, I don't care, I'll give them a bad score? But was it really like that? At any point in time did you say, nah, I'm really starting to get annoyed with this, I don't care, I'm going to give these guys nothing?
No, I tried to be as fair as I could. Like, I watch every movie in its entirety. And I tried to, respond to the films as honestly as I could. Like some films, people have said were absolutely terrible. I didn't mind that much, relatively speaking.
Right.
At the end, the thing was, after the middle of December, because I was off work, I had a lot more time.
Right.
So I watched 70 movies that month, and I think that's why I ended up with, movies right at the end that were really terrible.
Fair enough.
But I interviewed the guys who both had these movies that rated 4 out of 100. No, good sports about it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
happy that someone had watched their films, regardless of whether they were good or bad, or in this case, just terrible.
Awesome. Now, seeing that Capsule Computers, we love our games. We love our games.
You love your
We
games.
love it. Now, I know you would have had to watch some video game, movie adaptations that they've brought onto the movie scene. Did you? And
did.
Okay. And
There
what?
weren't that
Give us maybe 2 or 3 that you thought were the worst.
2 words: Uwe Boll. I mean, the man made House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark, and Blood Rain, which were the 3 films that I sampled along with an earlier film of his called Blackwoods.
Yep.
And I interviewed him, and he was quite frank about the fact that his films, I think he rated them like 3.5 out of 10, 4 out of 10. So he's quite honest about the fact that his films are crap.
Yeah.
His argument was, he makes crap films and gets pounded for it. Other people make crap films and they seem to get off scot-free.
Yeah.
But I think in a way, in those films, the reason they were so critically reviled is because the game's fans felt really betrayed and pissed off.
Yes.
Klutz had come in and made such shitty films.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, there are
video game fans are very, very deadly.
That's what
when
my
it comes
point in
to
the book was. This guy, if he adapted Shakespeare,
Yeah.
he'd get off easier than if he adapted House of the Dead.
Oh, of course.
So they were 3 of them that were, pretty bad. But video game films are typically not very good.
No. Well, okay. So what was the worst one out of all of those 3?
I'd say it.
House of the Dead?
House of the Dead, maybe. Alone in the Dark is also just
pretty bad.
God-awful film.
Yeah?
It makes no sense whatsoever.
At all.
You have, half-decent actors in some of Stephen Dorff before he came back recently with a Sofia Coppola film.
Yeah.
Stumbling through this film in a sub-Christian Slater impersonation.
Right.
It's a pretty shocking
All right, so Alone in the Dark was the worst. Or House of the Dead.
Watch them both and you decide.
Watch them both, that's exactly. We'll put a link onto this from this interview here, and you guys can go try it out and pick it up from Amazon or wherever, eBay,
$2 shop.
or wherever. Yeah, exactly. But don't spend too much money on it. Exactly.
That's right.
All right, so show us the book, and when's it out?
It's out now.
It's already out.
All
Fantastic.
Good bookstores.
Really?
Other not so good bookstores. It's also available on Amazon. So.
Amazon as well. Okay, and how much is it?
It's $39.95.
Right.
So
Awesome. And any last words? Give us last words. Sell it.
Enjoy
Sell it to
movies,
us.
my friends, and enjoy the book.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Michael.
guys.
And Master Rabbit signing out from CapsuleComputers.com. Thank you for watching.